When you think of the world's most historic cities, you might picture a museum, something locked behind glass. But that's not the reality for many of them. They're alive, just buzzing with people, traffic, and commerce. And that right there, that vitality, it creates this huge challenge. How do you build a future in a place that's so deeply rooted in the past? So, right now, all across India, from the mountains of Leh all the way down to the coasts of Kochi, there's this quiet but absolutely massive effort going on. Ancient cities are trying to become contemporary hubs, and the ambition, it's really singular. They want to evolve to meet the needs of today, but, and this is the key part, without wiping out the incredible heritage their ancestors left behind. It's a super delicate, high-stakes balancing act. All right, so let's get into it. First up, we're going to frame the core dilemma that these cities are up against. Then we'll dig into what this living heritage thing is really all about. After that, we'll look at the modern pressures threatening it, check out a blueprint for a more balanced future, and wrap up by asking, the most important question of all, who are these cities actually for? Okay, so what actually happens when a city's history and its future have to literally occupy the exact same space? This isn't some academic question, right? For millions of people, this is their daily reality. And this is really the key takeaway here. The whole point isn't to just freeze these cities in time, put them under a glass dome like some kind of snow globe. The real work, the hard part, is managing change. It's about finding that sweet spot, that middle path between preserving everything and just bulldozing everything. It's a path that lets a city grow while holding on to the unique identity that makes it so special in the first place. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. When we talk about heritage, what are we actually talking about? Because it goes so much deeper than just a bunch of beautiful old buildings. Yeah, this quote right here, it just nails it. A city's soul, its real spirit, isn't in the bricks and mortar, it's in the people. And what that means is that real preservation can't just be some order handed down from a government office somewhere. Nope, it has to come from the residents themselves, the people who live and breathe the city's culture every single day. They have to be its true guardians. Just think for a second about all the invisible threads that hold a city together. You've got the mythological stories, like in Binther, which is said to be the very place where the god Brahma created humankind. Wow. Then there are these enormous festivals, like the Kumbh Mela in Nashik, that pull in millions of people. Or you have something more intimate, like in Pondicherry, where they had these talking streets that were literally designed to get people to interact with each other. And don't forget the traditional crafts, like the stonework that literally built the character of a place like Chanderi. See, this is the intangible stuff. It's the living, breathing culture of a place. And of course, all of that intangible soul has a physical home, an incredible, tangible body. And the sheer diversity of physical heritage across India is it's mind-blowing. Just look at the contrast. On one side, you have the delicate, almost serene pavilions from the Hoysala dynasty. And on the other, these powerful, imposing gateways you'd find in a city like Chanderi. Every single piece of architecture tells a completely different story about a city's history, about its soul. All right, but here's where the rubber meets the road. This is where the conflict really starts. What happens when the pressures of modern life start to squeeze this very fragile, very alive heritage? And look, the clash is direct, and frankly, it's often pretty brutal. Those narrow, winding lanes that were perfect for people and carts, totally choked with cars now. Those beautiful traditional courtyard houses, the wadas and havelis, they're getting torn down for, you guessed it, generic concrete apartment blocks. Community spaces, they're just vanishing under the pressure of real estate. And those unique skills passed down for generations, they're being replaced by standardized, one-size-fits-all industry. It's basically a systematic replacement of the old with the new, and a lot of the time, nobody gives it a second thought. And this right here is what you get. You see historic buildings like this one in Gwalior getting messed with in ways that make no sense or just knocked down completely. So why does this happen? Well, it's usually a mix of things. People just don't realize how valuable these places are, owners can't afford the upkeep, and maybe most importantly, there's a real lack of protective laws or smart building guidelines to manage all the new construction. Okay, so with all these huge pressures, what's the solution? Is there one? How can a city actually move forward without completely erasing its past? Well, the good news is a blueprint is starting to emerge. The way forward, it really requires a total shift in how we think about this. Step 1. You have to empower the inhabitants. Give them a real say through participatory planning. Step 2 is creating master plans where heritage isn't just some box to tick at the end, it's the absolute center of the whole plan. Next up, you need smart regulations, smart guidelines to steer new development in the right direction. And finally, you got to foster partnerships between the public and private sectors to bring in new money, new resources, and fresh ideas. And hey, this isn't just theory. This stuff is actually happening on the ground. Take Udaipur, for example. A community campaign called Amartam Jalam actually brought back the city's traditional wells and water tanks. Amazing! In Ahmedabad, they started a heritage walk, and it's become this incredibly powerful way for people to connect with their own history. You've got planners pushing for new design laws specifically to avoid more of those bland concrete slab buildings. And then there's Mumbai, where the city created legal heritage precincts to create a real framework for how development can happen in these historic areas. So all of these efforts, right, from community action all the way to legal frameworks, they all lead us to one final and really crucial question about what a city is even for. So let's be super clear here. Living heritage doesn't mean freezing a city in time. That's not the goal. It's about embracing the fact that this is a dynamic process. It's about looking at a city and saying, hey, these places are always changing. And the real challenge, the real art, is to guide that change in a way that thoughtfully connects the past, the present, and the future. At the end of the day, protecting a city's living heritage, well, that's a shared responsibility. It helps the people who live there by preserving the unique cultural identity that makes their home home. And it helps all of us, the whole world, by making sure these one-of-a-kind urban tapestries aren't just lost forever. It's all about making sure that daily life and heritage can keep on being the very same thing. And that leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. This kind of work is never really finished. It's a constant negotiation, a continuous, delicate balancing act. So, can a city be both a monument that fills us with awe and a home that nurtures its people at the exact same time? The future of our most historic and beloved cities, well, it really depends on how we answer that question.